right, everybody. Welcome back to another In the Mind of Music interview for today. We are being treated by a lot of amazing music from Arizona lately.
Oh, yes.
Yes, because we've got another awesome band to talk about tonight from the state of Arizona. We've got Brandon from the band American Standards. He is the the vocals of this band. How are
The
you
most
doing?
important part.
Oh, shush. How are you doing, Brandon?
I'm doing pretty good. Don't talk us up too much. I don't want to let people down.
Oh, really? Is that what you say to all the interviewers and all the magazines lately?
Only to you guys, of course.
I think it's
Okay.
reverse psychology. He's just saying that so people are like, oh, they can't be that bad. Let's take a look.
No.
Exactly. It's like the whole psychology of seeing a movie, and if everybody said how awesome that movie is, it's never going to live up to the hype.
Oh, yeah.
So, I put that into the band, too.
Although I must say, Hacksaw Ridge did stand up to the hype of everybody I talked to.
Oh, yeah. I don't know if you've seen that movie, but we're not talking about movies, Nate.
Sorry, he just brought it up.
Okay.
So do I sound good? There's no kid crying in the background now, right? Just that'd be really weird because I'm in the car by myself on the road.
Are you on a Bluetooth?
No Bluetooth. I'm not that nerdy yet. I mean, if you guys are on Bluetooth, I apologize. I didn't mean to take down our whole target people that use.
No.
No, all I can say is if you hear a kid crying in the back of your car while you're driving and there wasn't one there, I would pull over.
Yeah, right. I think there might be cops chasing me at that point.
Oh geez. Okay, so let's get on with the interview, right? Shall we? Okay. So tell us a little bit about American Standards. We know you guys formed in 2011, and since then have played many shows, released a few music videos, and this isn't your first time being interviewed or reviewed, as we have established. So tell us what motivated you to embark on this crazy journey in music.
Really nothing better to do at the time. I think I didn't have a whole hell of a lot of talent for sports or otherwise, so I had to pick up something, and luckily at one point in my life, my dad gave me a guitar as a gift, and I picked that up, and kind of the rest is history. 15 years later, and I'm still playing. It's kind of weird that when I first started, I was 15 playing the people that were 15. And now I'm 30 playing the people that are 15.
Yeah, I was about to make the same joke.
Funny how that works. I think you're talking to the guy that relates to that statement. Oh, jeez. Oh, my goodness.
Oh, man.
Oh, gosh.
That was
great.
That was genius.
Okay. So you guys described the band as a chaotic hardcore mathcore band, best known for its reckless live shows and outspoken views on sociopolitical topics. Now, I got that from your YouTube page. I'm guessing from the
That sounds like a mouthful.
Yeah, it is.
Hard to say there.
Yeah, it is. And I'm guessing from the American mascot as well as the band's name, this is not hard to guess. So expand on that description for us and for the people who are listening that are just new to learning about you.
Yeah, so I think really we would classify ourselves, we probably sound more like a metal band, but we classify ourselves as a punk rock band, just because it gives us a little more leeway to not sound super tight and put together.
Okay.
So that's good. But the chaotic and the mathcore, I think that just comes from, we played in a lot of different time signatures. The structures of the songs aren't your typical verse, chorus. They're a little more sporadic. So I think that's kind of where those terms come in. And then as far as musical topics and what we kind of sing about and the message that we portray as a band, I think we do, at least up until this album that just came out a few days ago, a lot of our stuff has been more social commentary, kind of looking outward at the world, whereas our new album that just came out, it's a little more looking inward.
Okay. So the new album, Anti-Melody, it's out as of last week, Friday. And from what I see on the Facebook page and everything else, it's already creating a buzz. And major music magazines such as Revolver Magazine has done pieces on your album, as well as the Pit Magazine. And the Pit Magazine actually reviewing the song Bartenders Without Wings to the likes of the sounds of the Deftones Hexagram. Tell us about the writing process of the band. How easy or challenging was it to write an album that would still remain unique and make you guys stand out amongst a very saturated punk rock genre market?
Yeah, no, that review recently where they compared that song to the Deftones, my jaw dropped because the Deftones was a band that I used to listen to. I think that's one of the bands that actually got me into playing music. I used to, play guitar and actually did covers of the Deftones. So that's for 15 years later, and to get compared to the Deftones, which I know I think that was a stretch of a comparison, but I'll take that absolutely any day.
Yeah.
I think the writing of the album really started writing some of these songs when we put out our last EP, which was surprising to say almost 3 years ago. And then we lost a drummer. It was just kind of the right move at the time. He was like any drummer, so he was in 3 or 4 other bands, and he just didn't have the time to do everything that we wanted to do. So we left on good terms. We got another drummer, but then we had to bring him up to speed. And as we started writing for the album, it was just one thing after another. We booked studio time, and then our founding guitarist Cody Conrad, he had taken his life, and that kind of was a bit of a setback, obviously.
Whoa,
and then just a few months after that, my father passed away of cancer, and it was out of nowhere. He was diagnosed, and he knew something was wrong for quite a while, but he's kind of one of those old-fashioned guys that didn't want to go to the doctors. He hadn't been to doctors in 30 years, and he was diagnosed, and from the point that he was diagnosed, he didn't tell me until he was in the hospital a couple of weeks later, and he passed within 3 days.
Wow, man.
So those kind of things were these huge life experiences that keep coming up, and the band kind of took a back burner to those, obviously. Not only because of going through those experiences, but also when we came back to these songs that we had wrote over the last couple of years, it didn't feel right not to incorporate those experiences, especially being the vocalist, into the lyrics of the album. So I rewrote so much of the album to try to incorporate that, but I quickly found out that it's super easy for me to write about something external to me, like looking at politics or other things like that and commenting on those. But to write something more personal just took so much longer for me. So we recorded in California, and I was driving back and forth between Phoenix and California, 7 or 8 times within the course of a year.
Wow.
Yeah, I totally concur with the having a harder time doing an introspective versus an outside world thing. It's a lot harder, especially because you want to tell and tell the truth, but sometimes you really have to get into the things that you don't want to talk about too much in your lyrics in order to really hit home with people. So, yeah.
Exactly. I'm kind of guilty of always hiding behind a lot of metaphor in my lyrics.
Same here.
And it didn't feel right this time around to do that. So a lot of our songs are much more blunt than we've had in the past, and there's less room for interpretation. And although that should be easier to do, to approach it in a way that was true to what I wanted it to be was the most challenging part.
So you're already touching on the topic for today's show on how music gets you through life's ups and downs. So do you feel like when you're writing the music that you're also touching the fan base and also, using the music as a form of therapy for yourself to get you by?
I would hope so. Yeah, I would hope that. I think the fact that it's kind of good and bad of what writing more personally is, you kind of got to keep this top of mind every time you sing the song. But at the same time, just with the album coming out a few days ago, I woke up the next day to all kinds of messages on my personal Facebook from people that I didn't know at all, saying that they connected with songs like Cancer Eater is one of the songs that's a bit more personal. So I think although I have to relive it when we sing these songs or do these songs live, I think I also live it with a different perspective of knowing that there's other people that have gone through this, and those people reaching out have already kind of said that, it resonated with them in some way. So I think that's something that definitely seems like a release and seems like therapy in a sense.
Yeah, no, I can actually relate to that as well. That if you get that type of a message back and all that stuff, I mean, sometimes people can go too far with the way that they say it, and it's kind of like, well, but that it does mean a lot. I mean, it really touches your heart at that point in time, and I'm really sorry to hear everything that you've been going through, but I'm sure it made some great emotional songs that probably connected with a lot of people or will connect with a lot of people when they hear it.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, and that's the goal. And we're really I think one thing that's interesting for us is with the first single that we put out for Writer's Block Party is kind of a 180 from some of the more heavy topics on the album. So not only is it going to be interesting to see the contrast between what people heard first from the album to some of the other songs, but also just from what they've heard in the past from us. I mean, on social media, we're very much more tongue in cheek. So to have some of these topics on the album are, like I said, kind of a one for us.
Okay, fair enough, good enough. So you guys sort of kind of pride yourself on the DIY for the moment and say, until something good comes along, right? So how comfortable are you guys doing it independently right now, and what kind of deal would you guys be willing to accept if you decided to shop the album to labels?
Probably no less than like $1 million, maybe two. I don't know. What are labels saying today? It's about $2 million, right, for a punk rock band? I'm just playing. I think we started under a big label, so we started under the Victory Records umbrella in 2012, and it just wasn't for us. We put out one album under a subsetter label of Victory Records, and it just wasn't for us at the time. I think record labels are so overrated. And people still put them on this pedestal, but they don't realize if you're willing to do the work yourself and put the time into your band, no one's going to be more passionate about that than yourself, and no one can do it better than yourself if you're willing to put that effort. So for our record labels now, rather than dealing in quality and putting out these really, albums that kind of resonate and mean a lot, they deal in quality instead of quantity. So they put out more albums, and by putting out more albums, they're hoping that one or two of those bands really break out and make it big. Yeah. And then everybody else on the label is kind of left in the background. So when we were on the label, this was definitely at the time where it was all about quantity. We were just another label up in the background that by no means is ever going to be the biggest band out there. We're not going to be the next Avenged Sevenfold or anything like that, nor do we aspire to be that.
Yeah.
So it just didn't work for us. But I think as a DIY band, it gives us that knowledge that anything that we put into the band, all the work that we put into the band, like any result that we see is a result of that work. And that's what kind of drives us forward. So, I mean, if you can Google, you can do anything. You could record at home. You can book a tour. You can distribute through CD Baby for less than $100. It makes it really easy.
Yeah, no, I totally feel you on that for sure.
There's some good tips there. Yeah, because Nathan is right. He can relate to that because his band, A Fault to Break, has been a DIY, and they signed their first record to a label, right?
Yeah, and thank God got our music back.
Well, no, for your September Falls album.
Yeah, but that wasn't really signing it to a label. They just helped with distribution.
But I realize that a lot of bands that are DIYs will end up building their own fan base, and they become more valuable that way. So if they do decide to shop their songs or their CDs to record labels, they have all that fan base that comes with it already. So they've all they can actually then at that point work on a deal that's more beneficial to them, and they have the upper hand versus the label, having the upper hand there.
I agree with you.
So
actually,
you guys
though.
Definitely have, but they have a following. I've been noticing.
No, I know, which means I would never sign to a record.
Yeah,
label.
so I was gonna say that, and to follow up what I was saying was that at this point, noticing and observing the way you guys are doing it, I think that you guys are just doing it, just fine as well right now, and don't have to worry about a record label, shelving you guys or just waiting around for them to actually move. You guys are just doing it on your own.
Yeah, exactly. And it gives us a lot of freedom and flexibility in the way that we do things and on the timeline that we do it. But it also, I think there's just kind of a beauty in that under that story. If we were to sign to a label again, not to say that we won't if the right thing didn't come along, but like our message as a band is you can overcome anything that is thrown your way, whether it be trying to follow a passion and there's things that maybe people or there's things that are keeping you from following that passion, or it be like the death of a loved one. You can overcome this event and move on to better times. Mm-hmm. And I think the way that our band is set up as a DIY band, it kind of encompasses the whole idea.
Right.
Totally.
So, then how do you feel about things like online music sharing, since it's been a thing that has become quite popular nowadays?
Yeah, it's absolutely necessary, right? I mean, with just like physical albums, I think you had mentioned, or maybe I think I might have heard you guys talk about this in the past, but the whole idea that like CDs and everything are almost a dead format at this point. We still get them for people want them. actually. So if people want cassette, it's kind of a retro type of thing. But the only physical format that's doing halfway decent is vinyl. So digital, like streaming on things like Spotify, Apple Music, and YouTube is one of the biggest, outlets now. Those are absolutely necessary. Now, you don't get any money from them. I mean, we the check from Spotify once a month for 70 or $80 because we get 0.03% of a penny, so a fraction of a penny for every play. But where we do make our money is more through selling things like T-shirts and through torrent.
So one thing I've actually learned that I was really surprised to find out, the amount of money you make is off of Spotify specifically, greatly increases by the daily, constant daily listeners. So if your daily listener count is pretty high up there, you're good. So I would definitely not turn a blind eye to Spotify ever, and try to do as much marketing on Spotify as you can, because one of the larger bands that I work with, I'm not going to name their names, but they're making about probably $18,000 a month right now off of Spotify with their latest single that they just put out, which is, I mean, for musicians, as you know, that's pretty damn high for one song. Anyways.
Yeah, no, that's huge.
Yeah,
Especially
Like I
nowadays.
said, we're lucky when we make like that $60 and we just throw that right back on merch.
Yeah, no, I'm totally the same way, man. Like up to about a month ago when I heard this, I like blown away. And now that I know that, I will be concentrating a little bit more on Spotify than I was prior.
Yeah, and this ties into the most, I guess, interesting conversation for people who aren't musicians. But one thing that we've been doing a lot lately, for us and also for people that we enjoy, is we've been playlisting a lot of things on Spotify. So from our band Spotify, we throw local bands on there. We have one playlist that's all local bands. We have one playlist that's all national bands, but more in our genre. And it allows us to promote the music that we like. It's a playlist that we're going to listen to ourselves while we're on the road when we're touring or whatever it is.
Yeah,
and then it also, I mean, you throw a couple of your own songs on there, so it kind of gives you that benefit too.
Nice. Yeah, I never thought about doing that, but that's a good idea, especially with how much time you spend on tour listening to music.
Yeah, exactly. The last playlist I made for the band page, which I haven't put it out there yet, so this is their IPO in the Mind exclusive right here, is I made a playlist of entirely like 90 sitcoms, like the theme songs, Step by Step and Full House, Family Matters.
Oh, 90 sitcoms?
Yep, a 90 sitcom of the whole, like the intro song, like the theme songs.
Oh, no kidding.
So, but on Spotify, they don't have like the actual version. They have these knockoff versions that are like way more horrible than the actual version, and it's hilarious. So we hate this, and we're going on tour here pretty soon. And we normally will play like Step by Step or Full House, and we'll just put it on loop and listen to it for 4 hours. So I'm very excited to release that onto the world.
That is hilarious. Oh, I'm stealing that idea, man.
No,
Sorry.
you're not.
I'm gonna drive my band effing nuts.
Oh my god, no. Oh my gosh. I can only imagine.
DuckTales.
Oh god.
Whatever happened to predictability?
Yeah.
Oh god, he's turning red here. He's turning red. He's crying now.
Oh, I can think of a whole bunch of fun ones there. Oh my god.
Play by play.
I like to have like the Full House theme song, like kind of so much like the Family Matters one. I think it was Family Matters. I think it might have even been.
You're breaking up a lot, Brandon. What was that?
Oh, I was just gonna say. I said like I think a lot of these sitcoms have like the same person singing them, or everybody just try to sing in song. It's really weird how similar those songs sound.
Yeah, are you in an area where it's breaking up? Your phone is we're losing it here.
My apologies. I'm actually just parked in front of a Starbucks here. Let me see if it's most likely the Sprint service.
Gotcha. Okay.
Fiber.
Want to make sure that we get you loud and clear here. So, you're saying that you guys are getting ready to go on tour. I just caught that. So,
Yep.
With everything that you guys have been collecting and everything, tell us how you financially prepared, and you guys in the band financially prepared to be out on the road, for almost a month, right? Pretty close to a month.
Yeah. 12 states in total. I think like any punk rock, metal, hardcore band, the majority of it really comes from us pitching in and then making the money back while we're actually out there off our guarantees and our t-shirt sales. We pretty much almost depleted our entire saving over the last 3 years from the prior EP. And we almost dumped all of that into the recording because we went to like I said, California, to a studio called King Size Sound Labs, and it was a pretty expensive process, not only from the studio time, but also from the just driving to California so often. Yeah.
Oh yeah, totally.
Okay, so again, listeners, that's in the support of Anti-Melody, the newest album that has come out on Friday. So I will ask you one question that I did ask the previous band before you. It is becoming a little bit more cumbersome to get people to come out to more local shows. You know, can you kind of give us some advice on how to motivate people in the scene to come out to more local shows?
Yeah, that's always a hard one because I don't think there's like one good answer to that. I think like one thing I say is everybody puts all their eggs in one basket. So do you think if I post, one Facebook post or a Twitter post that people are inherently going to be at the show? And that's not the truth at all, especially because the Facebook EdgeWorks algorithm or EdgeRank algorithm. You can be a band like us that has 60 or 70,000 people on Facebook, and maybe only 2 or 3% of the people are actually seeing it. So that's definitely not the way to do it. I think I heard the other band talk about doing the street team and physical flyers, and that's definitely valuable because that face-to-face helps a lot. But I think the biggest thing is honestly just if you're a band, don't play a show that you wouldn't go to yourself.
Okay.
I think a lot of bands get asked to play these shows by promoters, and they feel like they have to say yes to it. And since they don't know the other bands on the show, they're just not super excited to play the show. So they're not promoting it super heavy. Their friends and their fans probably haven't heard of the other band, and it just hurts everybody. So when it comes to it, only play shows that you would pay the money to go see yourself if you weren't on the show, and that will help tremendously.
I love that answer. That is actually probably one of my most favorite answers in a while.
Yeah, we've had a lot of different answers to that question. And I like to ask that because it seems like that's one of the most tedious things for bands to do is sell tickets to the shows, to get people to come to shows, and also the fact that they take, whatever that's getting, handed to them without even really researching, what's going to be there and what type of bands are going to be playing because, you're playing to a crowd that may not really like your music because they're there to see other music that's not even like yours, So
yeah, and why would you pay how can you get someone to pay $15 for a show that you're playing that you wouldn't pay $15 to go see yourself?
Right.
It's
so true.
Totally believe that. I so totally agree with that. Just know that I don't know if you've noticed, but from my experience, bands that disagree with that statement are usually the ones that sit there and say, well, you're turning down shows. That's bad business. And I don't think turning down the wrong show for your band is ever bad business. If it doesn't make sense, turn it down.
Well, yeah.
Yeah, and it's only bad business to accept it because if you accept it, now are you not only not drawing people to that show, so the other bands are suffering because you're not drawing people, or if you are drawing people, you're drawing people that don't care about those other bands.
Yep.
You're doing a disservice to a promoter. You're doing a disservice to the venue because there's no lack of bands. That promoter can find a better band that's a better fit for it. So it's a disservice to everybody.
Yeah, I like to agree.
That is such a great way to explain it, and I totally agree.
And
you stress out, right? I mean, that's probably another thing that's unspoken of is you stress out over selling tickets to a show that you're not all through.
Yeah, because you can't get rid of them because nobody wants to go to it.
And if you're a band and you're listening right now, you don't have to necessarily play every single weekend either, because some bands will get offered a show, they'll say yes to everything, and then they'll be on every single weekend's bill, and then they'll overplay their own local scene.
Yeah, if you're playing every single weekend, it better be in a completely different city.
Yeah.
Small towns are notorious for that too. I mean, a lot of not that Tucson's small by any means, and you guys have so many great bands. Some of my favorite bands have come out of Tucson actually. And you also have a decent amount of venues, but I think what happens is places that are a little bit smaller, fans aren't going to pay that same $10 to see the same show every week.
Yeah, that's very, very good point. Very, very good point. So, looking into the future of American Standards as a band, what can we expect from you guys in the next decade?
Decade. Wow. I'll be a little bit old by that time. I'm already a bit old right now, to be honest. But
Well, within the
I think
decade, I guess.
yeah, let's say the next couple of years. No, I do think obviously we just put out this album, so after this we've got the tour coming up through the Midwest. We'll be doing an East Coast tour here pretty soon, which we're all very excited about. We do very much hope to also get out of the country. I think the last band I mentioned going to Europe. The label actually presses our vinyl, Enjoyment Records, is based out in the UK.
Nice.
They're just a distributor for us, so we would love to get out there. They've helped us so much because you probably know native vinyl is insanely expensive for a band to front the money on. And then on top of that, when you ship something to places like the UK, and I typically ship all our merch, so I go to the post office once or twice a week, I hate to charge someone an extra $10 or $15 to send it overseas. So now they're paying 25 or 35 bucks for a T-shirt that really should only cost 10 or 15.
Yeah.
So having the label out there has helped us tremendously for the distribution portion. So that, yeah, I think that's next. I also think that since this music is so old, I don't want to say old, but we started writing it a few years ago and we recorded it in June of last year. I think as soon as we get back from tour, we're going to jump right back into the studio.
Oh, nice. Okay, so working on another album?
Yeah, probably EP this time around. I think like, I don't want to say the album format is bad, but it's definitely it's kind of lost some of the appeal when you're streaming lists off Spotify, and sometimes you're not even listening to those songs in the order that you have them on the album.
Mm-hmm.
But I think we want to keep fresh and put out probably a few songs in an EP as quickly as we can, just to kind of in the forefront.
Okay.
Cool. Yeah, I totally agree with that as well. And to double on the fact that we were talking earlier about the CDs not being as prevalent, next year's model of cars won't have CD players.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, yes. And well, we have announcements to make with IPO later on down the road, but yeah, it's going to be kind of a Alexa software type of thing where you can just talk to your car and it'll just play whatever you want to play.
It'll play your Spotify and all that stuff will be a part of the car now instead of
Yep, and
it makes sense. And here we are. We just put a big investment into a bunch of CDs for this album. So hopefully we'll have them gone by then.
well,
you're going on tour, so I would
Yeah,
always
you're
have
going on
CDs
tour.
on tour.
Yeah, because people like tangible, touchable things where they can get your signature still. They feel really good getting autographs on things. So I think that's still.
Listen, Ethan, no one likes our signature still, or liked it before to begin with.
Don't worry, people can't even read my signature.
Me neither. Like, I'm the kind of guy, like, I have the least cool signature in the band. It's literally just writing my name in print, basically. I don't know. I've got to work on that.
That's too funny. Yeah, I got to the point to where nobody knew what my signature was, so I had to do my signature, and then I'd write Nate in print below it.
Well, at least you've got asked enough for your autograph that you've built a strategy.
Yeah, well,
I know, huh? Oh my god.
that's how I know you should take those CDs on tour and never let somebody say no.
Yeah.
Oh gosh.
Yeah, we'll do it. I
No.
was pretty bummed out with our last EP, Hungry Hands. We put it on cassette, and I used to have this old Mustang that had a CD player and a cassette player.
Oh yeah.
And when I finally got rid of that car, I had no way to listen to these cassettes, and we still have tons of these cassettes around. I'm sure the format of cassette sounds god awful to begin with, but it was kind of a novelty thing. It was fun to have.
All the kids listening are like, "What is a cassette,
Yeah, what's a
Mom?
cassette?
What's a cassette, Dad?"
You put your pencil in there and you kind of rewind.
Yeah, rewound it.
What are those things? What is a Walkman?
Well, yeah, definitely have CDs for the Midwest and the East Coast. I've done a tour out there a couple of different times, and always had great success selling CDs. So you should be good.
Yeah.
All right.
We're excited to get back because this tour is actually modeled after the very first tour we did with American Standards in 2012.
Nice.
So all the cities we're playing are literally the same city, almost exactly, that we played in 2012 at their first tour. So it's kind of a throwback for us.
Yeah, so you'll already have people most likely that even show up that know you.
Or those people will be 5 years older. So the difference between 19 and 24, 25, and they might be into indie rock now or something like that, or EDM. It's pretty popular.
Maybe.
Okay.
I'd hope not, but
So you can answer this question any way you'd like, serious, funny, and this is another question I asked the previous band. But tell me about something that you do outside of music that contributes to your musicality, a hobby, you know, that you turn into to rejuvenate your creativity, make new songs.
Yeah, I think for me, I travel quite a bit, both for work and for fun.
Mm-hmm.
And kind of the thing is, I like to try everything at least once, like whether it be food or drink or just kind of random things. So I'll pull up Groupon and I'll say, okay, there's a deal for skydiving or for wakeboarding or for horseback riding up a volcano or something like that. These are all actual things I've done from Groupon.
Oh wow, that's cool.
So I like to do those kind of random things like that. I think that's fun.
Uh-huh.
I'm really big on old school anthologies, things like the Twilight Zone and the Outer Limits.
Ooh,
So a lot
I
of our
love that.
lyrics are kind of like inspired by those kind of almost in a sense social commentary too. Like if you've seen the new Black Mirror series on Netflix,
I have.
there's so many good things that they're trying to or ideas they're putting out there in a very entertaining way. So I think that helps me lyrically write a lot of our songs as well.
Cool, very cool.
No, that's awesome. You just touched
I
on a
like
whole bunch
that.
of things that I watch on a constant basis. Besides
Cool,
anime.
good deal.
I'm a total geek, dude.
Oh my gosh. Meet Brandon who does an advertisement for Groupon. No, I'm just
Yeah.
kidding.
No kidding.
Yeah, exactly. Groupon is the best. And
Yeah.
the return thing, sometimes I buy a ton of these Groupons and I completely forgot I buy them, and then like a year later they expire.
Yeah.
Oh, no.
And Groupon's awesome at taking those back. I'm not kidding you. So the whole tangent on Groupon. This next segment is brought to you by Groupon.
Yeah.
Um,
And Groupon
I
now
just
officially
bought
owes you
a-
money.
Yeah, right. I just not bought it. I rented a 8-person houseboat for 3 days off of Groupon.
Hmm.
It's
Really?
a huge houseboat. It fits 8 people. It has 4 bedrooms on it, and I got it for under $800.
Okay, I guess we're doing that. Next IPO
There you
Radio
go.
Festival is on a boat.
He's all, and I got it for under $800.
I guess.
Well, I mean, when
He's
you
got
divide
this
that from
down.
between 8 people,
Oh yeah,
for
no, it's
3
$100
days,
a
it's cheaper
person.
than a hotel,
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah. So I mean, yeah, we'll do an IPO festival on a boat.
That one day we will.
I'm
for
totally
sure.
down with
And
that.
we'll invite American Standards to be on stage.
Yeah.
So
Awesome.
you guys are going on tour, and I'm sure that's really, really exciting. So we have all the songs here from YouTube from that Anti-Melody. What song would you like us to play? And I want you to answer this specifically. I want you to answer this as you're thinking about your favorite song to perform on stage. So what's your favorite song to perform on stage? And we'll go ahead and play that song.
I think there's 2 different answers for this. So I'll throw it back to you, but I'll say my favorite song to perform off the new album is Cancer Eater, and I think that's one that might resonate most with people lyrically. But my favorite song off the album, maybe not to perform live, but my favorite song off the album is Church Burner. So let's do Cancer Eater. That's one I don't think we've played on anything yet.
Okay. All right. Why don't we surprise you? We'll play both. How's that?
Ah!
Yes, that's
Like Christmas.
exciting. Yes, it is. All right.
You're a geek.
I am such a geek, but we're all geeks. We've discovered we're all geeks here in this room, so that's totally okay.
I've got to step up my anime game, I guess.
Oh yeah, dude.
I know.
You're not gonna beat
What's
me.
your favorite anime? Are you into Death Note? That's a really popular one now.
I've watched Death Note, but I watched it like years ago. It's a really good one. I
Okay.
do like Death Note. I just finished what's left of the second season so far for Attack on Titan, and
Nice.
I've watched pretty much every anime that's on Netflix and Hulu up to this point.
Are you super stoked about the new Samurai Jacks they're doing? Not necessarily a
Not really. I was never a big fan of Samurai Jack. Not saying I hated it.
Okay.
I just didn't really watch it too much. I'm
Gotcha,
sure if I,
gotcha.
once they put out the new one, they'll probably have all the seasons out, and I'm sure I'll probably watch them because, unlike Issa over here, I do music and listen to music like I've done it so long and for so much. I just when I'm working, I can't listen to music anymore. It's weird. I would rather listen to anime.
Not me. I'm
I'm
listening to music.
exactly the same, except for take away anime and replace it with like podcasts.
Oh, yeah.
Are primarily what I listen to.
Yeah, no, I would prefer to listen to speaking versus music itself. I don't know why. It's
Yep.
the weirdest thing. It's just I get too lost in the music, I think is the problem, so I get nothing done. So
Man, I'm opposite. I'm so opposite. Oh gosh. Okay, so I guess I will fluff your ego by telling you that I love the titles of the songs on Anti-Melody. I just think that they are the most amusing thing ever, and make me want to ask you more questions that'll take longer on this interview, but I won't do that. But you guys that are listening, go check out their YouTube, American Standards, and check out the most amusing, well, just the most interesting titles for their album, and check out the album. Of course, it's available now, and it is available on all music platforms. So please support the band by visiting their social media,
including Deezer.
Yes,
including
Deezer. And visit all their social media platforms, like and follow their pages so you can keep up with what the band is doing and not miss one step. Don't forget, this awesome band is going to be on tour starting on May 19th, starting in Albuquerque, New Mexico, and circling right back to their home in Arizona, June 24th. So watch their page to see if any of those stops are in your hometown, and if not, they're actually taking requests. So get on there and tell them you want them to play at your town. Okay, so Brandon, take good care of yourself, and we will see you soon, okay?
I will do that. I've got to leave you with a closing question, though.
Oh, please
what's
go
that?
right ahead.
Who would win in a fight, a hammerhead shark or a swordfish?
Probably a swordfish.
I'd say a hammerhead.
You guys are, so it's a split. It's a 50-50. I guess the world will never know. Have your have your listeners call in to vote.
That's a good question.
That is a good question, although I'd still say swordfish.
I'm not going to take credit for that. I tweeted out. I asked people to send me random stuff to ask you guys, and that was what they came up with.
That's a good question, but I would say swordfish.
Why swordfish?
Shout out to Abel for that question, and shout out to Dan from the photography discussion for also getting involved with me.
Yeah, see,
Nice.
now I want to know what their answer to that is.
Now I want to know what your answer
He
to
has
that
a
is.
podcast as well, so maybe we can find out on the next episode of their photography discussion.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, for sure.
good one.
Send us the link to their podcast. We'd like to hear it.
I'll do that. Hey, thanks for having me, guys.
No
Yeah,
problem.
thanks, Brandon.
You
Take
be
care.
safe.
Bye.
Bye. All right, guys. So that was an awesome interview with Brandon. He is from the band American Standards. He has a new album out called Anti-Melody, and we're about to play Church Burner and Cancer Eater for y'all's ears.
Correct.
So
We're going
we'll
to
be
start
right-
off with Cancer Eater, though,
Yes.
because that was the one.
We shall be back.